everybody, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be making some samples using the items I was able to pre-order out of the holiday mini catalogue. It starts in September and it runs through to the end of December, and I did an unboxing video. Got a little bit carried away. I was so excited to see all the stuff inside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 3 cards with you, and I'm going to be making them using the Lights of Aurora suite. This is my most favorite thing ever. My oldest daughter, her name was Aurora. So when I saw this at Creativity Now, I was like, I've got to get that suite. So it's got 6x6 paper. I mean, look how lovely that is. You can imagine it's a little bit more condensed because it's 6x6. If it was 12x12, the pattern would be sort of perhaps a little bit more spread out, and 6x6 is just ideal. And I've kept each sheet of the cards I'm going to make with you, and you'll be able to see how much I think personally that was a fabulous idea that they did. I've used the Lights of Wonder stamp set. I didn't use the dies on this one, but I am also going to use the Traditions of Christmas, which is more reds and greens and poinsettias and stuff. And you'll see how I've mixed and mingled them. So enough talking and more doing. Let me just pop the catalogue off to one side because we don't need that. So the first card is this one. And there are 6 designs in the Lights of Aurora Designer Series paper. These are the ones that we won't be using, but I just wanted to let you see them if you hadn't seen my unboxing video. And this is the one that we will be using. So I'm going to make a ZZ fold card. And those of you who watch my videos often like, how unusual, Alyson's making a ZZ fold card. But I was very particular where I cut it from. So I needed 2 pieces that were 2 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then the best way, I just cut the shapes down to get these 2 pieces for the card. These pieces are always going to be able to be used. The other side is just such a lovely color in itself too. This was just to sort of house them, to keep them together. So I took a piece of basic white, and it's 8 1/2 by 5 1/2, scored at 4 1/4, and also scored at 2 1/8. So it's folded and scored in half, and then it's folded back on itself. If you don't have a paper trimmer, that's how you would do it. You fold it in half, fold it back on itself. And what I'm going to do is I am going to stick the papers on here so it keeps the pattern flowing. So let me just go ahead and do that really quickly. It's just, like I say, when it had the word Aurora in it, I mean, it's Stampin' Up. I nearly said, even if it was ugly, well, come on now, that's just never going to happen, is it? But if it hadn't have been a very favourite of mine, I still would have bought it just because of its name. So I'm going to pop this on here, and actually what I'm going to do is put it to, no, actually I'll do it to the fold, and I'll tell you why. Because if there are any overhangs, it's easier to trim it off a not folded edge. So I'm just lining it up with the fold and the top and the bottom as best I can. And then the other side is going to go over here. And again, I'm just going to line it up with the edge of the cardstock and the top and the bottom. So there we have where the continuation of the design flows across. I mean, it doesn't get much easier than that. ZZ fold cards are totally my favorite. And then what I wanted to do was, I did mention in my unboxing video that I hadn't brought one of the other sets. This is the Peace on Earth and the Peace on Earth dies. Of course I brought it all. I was just too lazy to remember. I got the glitter paper, I've got the stamps. I bought the whole suite when demonstrators were able to do Creativity Now. So what I'm going to do is I'm using lights, the word lights, out of the set. Light. And then I don't even know which one I chose. Wishing you a year of light, because that's such a lovely greeting. And then of course, you know, the Aurora. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Blackberry Bliss, and you may notice I'm using spots. I'm not in my craft room at home right now, and what I did was I kept as many spots as I could out of all the paper pumpkin kits I've used over the years and brought myself a rainbow selection. So when I'm away from home, that is my traveling kit. So I went ahead and I cut the die out of the Peace on Earth die. So I just cut one out nicely. And then I'm going to use the Blackberry Bliss so it picks up the darker color in the card front. And then the best idea with spots, of course, is you can't stamp the whole stamp onto it, so you do it the opposite way. Lay it down face up and you put the ink onto the stamp. So we'll stamp, pardon my head if it gets in the shot, because it's quite hard to see. And then we've got a lovely Blackberry Bliss. I'll just pop my scissors out of the way. So that was that one. And then the other colour is Pool Party, because this lovely Aurora streak, that's what that is. So again, I'm just using the Pool Party spot, lay the stamp down, stamp on top of it, and wishing you a year of light. So put the lids back on those so they don't dry out. And then what we're going to do is we are going to stick it ZZ fold, which is the technique actually using it for a ZZ fold card. So I don't want to obscure too much of this part. The bigger part is, well, pardon me, is impressive. So what we do is, if you put adhesive beyond the fold, you will stick your card down. So the best way is to flip it over, and then you can see here where you can't put anything further than, and pop some adhesive on there, and then you know you can put it in the other area and then pop it on, and then you can see you don't have any sticky on that side. Now there are some absolutely fabulous gems that came. They are frosted iridescent dots, and they are part of the suite. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave them off to one side for now. I'm going to make all 3 of the cards, and then we'll come back and we can blingify them. So that is the first card, the ZZ fold. The next one, is a strip card. So here's how we did it. I cut, this piece is 4 inches and it is 3.5 inches tall, and then I cut the 4-inch piece into 1-inch strips. So we've got this lovely 2x6 piece left over. We've got the other piece left over which doesn't have much pattern on, but fear not, because there is some gorgeous usable designer series paper on the other side. So this is what was left over from the pieces for this one. So this is a piece of Blackberry Bliss, and it's 8.5 by 5.5, and it's scored at 4.25. So we will fold that and give it a good crease. Now, when it is such a dark cardstock, what you need to do is pop a lighter colour on the inside. And what I like to do is cut a piece of basic white into 6. I cut it at 4.25, and then I cut each long strip into 3. So there's enough. You can normally just go 1/4 inch down and then you get 4 pieces. But when you're doing lots of cards, that is plenty big enough area to stamp a greeting and add a little bit of extra. So that's the card for that one. And then what I wanted to do was use magic which also came out of the Lights of Wonder, and Embrace the. So we're going to embrace the magic. So I'm going to stamp the magic in the Blackberry Bliss. Just like that. So that's the magic done. And then again, using the Pool Party, because it brings out the colours, is we'll put on Embrace the Magic. So that is the greeting that is going on that card. However, what I did was I went ahead and fussy cut it out. And the reason for that, I'll explain that in just a sec. So I stamped it, I fussy cut around it, and this is the piece that was left. So now I've got a piece of Balmy Blue. Let me just make sure that my lights all match up. And my Balmy Blue piece is, wrote it down, 4.5 by 3.25. And then what we're going to do is put adhesive on the back of these 3 pieces. Three pieces, there are 4 of them. We'll put 3 strips of adhesive on these 4 pieces, and we will put them in order across, leaving about 1/8 of an inch between. So what I like to do when I'm trying to keep things equal and spaced is put the 2 outsides on, up, and then we can space the other pieces equally inside. Let me just make sure these are the right way up. There we go. I mean, it does have a pattern, but sometimes you just have to pay close attention. So that's the strips. And then what we'll do is we could, actually, you know what, I think I'll do that. I think I'll attach the greeting first, or no, I'll attach them by dimensionals. I was actually going to put dimensionals on the piece, but I think I'm going to put the dimensionals on the whole body instead. You don't want to put dimensionals twice, because if they're double thickness, they don't always make it through the post office machine if they check it, and they will charge you extra postage. And as the postage unfortunately keeps going up, it's nicer to try and get away with as little as possible. So we'll attach that with the dimensionals, and then this I will go ahead and bring in my silicone mat so I can put some adhesive on the back without it getting sticky onto my work surface, because it will just peel off. And now this can just go up in the top corner, and now you can see why I wanted to make it be as skinny as possible. I didn't want to add a full circle or oval or anything. I wanted it to be still, of course, have the greeting, but I wanted to be able to see all of the wonderful auroras behind it. So that's the second card, and again, we'll put the little doodads on when we're done, and then I'll bring in the Christmassy ones, the reds and greens that I made. So last card, or last of these cards, was I wanted to do a quick and easy format of a card. So the best way to do that was to cut a 2-inch piece off, which of course leaves 4, and then cut the 6 into 3 2-inch strips. So what you've got is a piece that's 4 by 2. And you can get 4 of those out of 1 sheet of 6 by 6 in this cute little square, which you know is going to come out and be in some next card down the line. So then what I thought was I would flip these over and use the other side. So you've got Gorgeous Grape, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. and creased with the bone folder. So this was the idea that I was going to use. So I was going to have this with this flipped over, and then I thought, well, if this is almost Lost Lagoon, why not use Lost Lagoon cardstock, because it looks just as good, and then it saves this to use the Aurora side of it. So that's what I decided I would do for this one. And then I made 2 of them. So again, it's just the same 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, and then another piece of Lost Lagoon and these cards like this. So of course you don't need to sit and watch me make several of them. So I'll pop 2 off to one side, and then what I did was I cut this die out of, I think I forgot, did I bring it over? Indeed I did. So these are the traditional label dies, and this is the one that I used. And I thought, right, I will do, using the traditions of Christmas stamp sets. They've got so many bits that go together, they're really quite fun. So I took the Gorgeous Grape, and this stamp says "and bright." So we will be "and bright" to start with in Gorgeous Grape, and then to try and bring in all the different colours, I will have the Merry, and I will do that in Lost Lagoon, which matches the cardstock. So we'll do Merry and Bright. That's a nice Christmassy greeting, isn't it? So, and then I took some of the white cord, which is available in the main catalogue, and just wrapped it around my fingers 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, and then snip that off, and then put some adhesive on the back, and then just twist this like a figure of 8, like an infinity, and pop that on the back. And then we can spread those out so they're shared between everything. And then we'll attach those with dimensionals. 1, 2, 3, and here's one I made earlier to go on the other card. And then we'll quickly throw these on. And then again, because it is a dark cardstock, there would be the basic white to go on the inside, but of course you don't need to watch me do that. So we'll put one here, and one of these lovely, ooh, I'm not quite sure which is the better way around to do it. I think I'll do that way. These lovely borealises, boreali. Oh, do you know, I don't know what the plural of borealis is. It's a Latin word, so there will be an obvious answer. So there we have it. And then what I'm going to do is pull off the back of the dimensionals, fling those across my room, and then do likewise with the other one. Oops. There we have it. So pop that stamp set out of the way, and then as promised I will bring in the gorgeous bling and pop some of these into place. So this one definitely needs some of the pool party. This one, oh my goodness, I think we'll do a little bit of the purple. Let's put one down there and one up there. And let's just do an iridescent one, just because we can. And then these ones, well, this one definitely needs purple. Purple and a purple and a pool party. And these ones can have a lovely pink because there's more pink to these ones, isn't there? And let's just stick a green one or a pool party to coordinate with the Lost Lagoon. So those are the cards that I made. Stampin' Up, alysonstamps, stampinup.net. That is my website where you can find details of upcoming classes, and you can shop when the catalogue goes live. My blog usually has directions and dimensions on it, so you can check that out too. So here are the cards as we've made them. Let me just move my bits out of the way. And then, like I say, as promised, I made some red and green. So these were using the traditions of Christmas suite. This one I made just plain. This one I embossed, so I sort of stepped it up a little bit. So there's those ones there. This one, I mean, this paper is so lovely. I don't know if you can see that it's got sort of the gold foiling to it. It was almost a shame to add anything to it. This one I didn't. These ones have got the lovely, this bling, traditional sparkling sequins. It's like the Drusi silver and gold that we've had in previous years. And last but not least, this is the ZZ fold card that I made using the same greetings. And it uses the lovely new in color for the base of that one. So those are the cards I've made so far, using primarily the lights of Aurora, because that was what I wanted to use first of all. Then the traditions of Christmas, and then I just sort of, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I made sort of just the same ideas, but you can see how they go in different colors. If you like what you've seen, please consider subscribing, ring the bell. I'm going to be doing a lot of these now that it's sort of released into the wild for demonstrators at least. So I will be doing quite a few of these and you don't want to miss any of them. So subscribe, ring the bell, check back often, all that good stuff. Check my blog for directions. If you have a question or a comment, pop those in the box below. If you don't have a demonstrator and you can't wait to get your hands on this, I would absolutely love the honor of being your person, and you can find all my information on my website. And last but not least, thanks so much for watching.